All right, number 16, the cone shown has a height of 7 and a base with a radius of 3. What's the volume of the cone? We're going to put it in terms of pi. So pi is going to be part of our answer. Okay, so the formula for a cylinder is going to be volume equals area of the base. So that's normally denoted by capital B times the height. Well, here it's a cone, so it actually takes 3 of these things to fit into a cylinder, so we're going to say it's 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Okay, well, if it's 1/3 of that, then the area of the base, well, the base is a circle here, so that's a pi r squared. So we're going to do pi r squared for the area of the base. So that's 1/3 times 3 squared. And then the height of the whole thing is 7. And then if I just reduce this, it's really 9 times 1/3, which is just 3, right? And then 3 times 7, which is 21. So it's 21 pi. All right, number 17. How many distinct values are there for the ratio x over y, where x and y are distinct? Distinct just means different, right? So they're different values, integers. And since they're integers, then I need to be careful because that means that they could also be positive or negative, right? Okay, so x over y could be, I'm going to try to put all the different arrangements. So if x was 4, it could be 4 over 8 for y or 4 over 16 for y. If x was 8, it could be 8 over 4 or 8 over 16. If x was 16, it could be 16 over 4 or 16 over 8. Now it does say distinct, which tells me that probably some of these are going to repeat. So as I finish this out and reduce them, I get 1/2 for the 4/8, 1/4 here for the 4/16. This one's 2. This one's 1/2. Ooh, that's a repeater, so I don't need that one. 16 over 4 is worth 4, and 16 over 8 is worth 2. Ooh, that's a repeater, so I don't need that one. So really I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways, 4 different values. Now there are no negatives here because all of these numbers were positive, but just be careful on that when it talks about integers, it could have negative values. Okay, number 18. How many days are equivalent to 648,000 minutes? Well, I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So if I just take 648,000 divided by 60, I'm going to save time to show you that answer. It's going to be 10800. So 10,800 hours. And now I need to convert it into days. Well, there's 24 hours in a day, so I just take 24 into the 10,800, and that's going to give me 450 if I do that long division. So 450 days. All right, 19. In a round of a detective game of whodunit, Sarah adds 8 points to her detective rating if she solves it. So 8 for solving it, and loses 10 if she doesn't. So she started with 100 points, and after 8 rounds, that's a key number, after 8 rounds, so we have 100 points, and then after 8 rounds happens, we're left with 110 points. Okay? How many mysteries did she solve correctly? So in other words, we're going to have some +8s and some -10s, and when it's all said and done, that's going to be a net value of +10, right? So, well, there's only 8 ratings. I mean, this is small enough we could certainly do guess and check on. So you could just, if you got 4 right or 5 right or 6 right, and you just do guess and check with 4 times 8 and 4 times -10 and just see when you get a value of +10. And that would not take very long. But if this was a little bit of a harder question, we should probably come up with a formula. And the formula would be, it's 8 for every correct answer, so 8x, minus 10 for every incorrect one. And that's going to give us a total of 10 points. And x plus y is 8, because there's 8 questions. So there we have a points, basically, equation. And we have a number of rounds, if you will, equation. And then we could do systems of elimination and just multiply by and maybe a 10 here. And that would make it 10x plus 10y equals 80. And then all we do is add these two equations. So 8x plus 10x is 18x. 10y minus 10y cancels. And 10 plus 80 is 90. I'm going to divide those by 18, and when I do that, I know that it's 45 over 9 if I reduce it, and then 9 goes into 45 5 times. So x is 5, and x is the number that she solved, right? So that was this number. So that would be 5 mysteries that she solved, and it would be 3 that she didn't get. All right. Now we're on number 20. Pierce can buy one pencil. Let me erase this. And one eraser for $1.36. So I might just make an equation out of that. So one pencil plus one eraser, I'll just call that P and E, is $1.36. And he can buy 2 pencils and 1 eraser for $1.84. We want to find 4 pencils and 1 eraser, how much that costs. So 4P plus 1E is what we're trying to find. Well, I could do this a couple different ways. But I think I'm going to do it using elimination. So I could just subtract these 2 equations, or I could multiply this one by a -1. The reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to get one of those variables to cancel out. So if I have a 1e and a -1e, those are going to add up to nothing, right? So they're going to cancel out. So it's really going to be -1p if I distribute that, minus 1e equals minus 1.36 or -1.36. Now if I add these 2 equations up, 2p minus 1p is 1p. 1e minus 1e cancels out or eliminates. That's why we did it. And then $1.84 minus $1.36 is going to give us 48 cents. So every pencil is worth 48 cents. So all I'm going to do now is plug in 4 times 0.48, and I need to find out what the eraser costs. So to figure out the eraser, I can simply just take my 48 here and plug it into this one over here. So 2 times 0.48 gives us 96 cents. And then if I subtract 96 cents from the $1.84, I'm going to end up getting 88 cents. So that would be 0.88. If I just multiply these, what's that, $1.92, I believe? So $1.92 plus the 88 cents. If I add those up, I get $2.80. Again, make sure you put 2 decimal places if it's cents.